Hey, Newton's cradle, cause and effect, causality. These are all things I want to talk to you guys about. Do me a favor though, please. Watch this one to the end. And I'm not saying this like at the end I'm going to have some hyperlink that's going to ask you to subscribe to something or anything like that. I'm just saying that I feel like this could be helpful to people. I probably bought this a year and a half ago. And I've been formulating this in my head, and I just want to share something with you. And I feel like it will be a great illustration and something that people, I feel like they say that people, 85% of what they learn visually. And so I think this will be something I can share with you, but at the same time, it could be helpful visually for you and hopefully something that you can carry. Enough about that. So Newton's cradle, but it illustrates cause and effect. It illustrates energy, action and reaction. I want to read something to you though, because I'm not memorizing this, so I'm just telling you straight up. Causality. Causality is an influence by which one event, process, or state or object contributes to the production of another event, process, state, or object. So it's basically saying where one event, process, state, or object has an effect on something else, right? We understand that principle of it. So it's basically the whole principle of this is, which I'm sure everybody's seen, this is the cause, that's the effect. So here's the cause, there's the effect. Then, and it's due to the energy of the cause and what effect it has on the effect. Now watch. So the more energy, cause you put into it, the greater effect it's going to have, which you guys can already figure where I'm going, right? You guys can already figure it. But what you don't, people have a tendency, this is very positive because I tell you guys all the time, or I encourage you guys all the time, look, if you're in a situation, maybe you don't, not necessarily glad you're in that situation, or a situation where you'd like to get out of the situation, normally it comes down to energy, effort, enthusiasm. Those are the things that will improve a large majority of situations. And if you're in a great situation, if you'd like to sustain that situation, it's going to take effort, enthusiasm, and energy put into that, anything that you do. And if you don't, what ends up happening is, if you watch this long enough, these balls will stop clicking and moving because the energy comes from here. That's you. And so the effect of you is here. And then, like I said earlier, when you go to more energy, more enthusiasm, more effort, then your effect is that, right? So what we have a tendency sometime is going, well, man, why is my life and the effect of my life not zipping up to here? Well, this is encouraging as nicely as I can. The effect will only be largely dependent upon the cause or the effort going into the situation. Very seldom will you give that much energy and get that much effect. It just is not going to happen. And if you want to sustain this level, then you got to sustain this level of cause or energy into the event. Here's another thing I think is very interesting, which is why I wanted you to stick around, and I'm still not done. Stick around. Because what this says is, it is where the cause is responsible for the effect. It is responsible for the effect. And the effect is partly or smallly affected to the cause. What's it saying? So yes, that has a great effect on the effect, but this has very little effect on the cause or the why in your life. That this is all going to be generated mostly by your energy or mostly by your beliefs or your higher power, whatever it is. But people, and I've been in this situation too, go, I really hope some kind of outside event comes into my life and has this huge effect on my cause. That's just not the way it works. The way it works is the energy, enthusiasm, effort. And I'm talking about leadership. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about your spiritual life. And it's not a negative thing. It's real simple. You want a greater outcome, you got to put more into it. And then you philosophically and spiritually, it's almost impossible for that not to happen, right? But the key is that you've got to get this pendulum going. And here's another thing. This has very little effect on that. And I just want to share with you that sometimes we get into situations where, due to fear or anxiety or whatever you want to say it might be, we have a tendency, or sometimes we'll get locked into this, is we get froze into nothing. And when nothing happens. And so no matter what you do, I tell people that all the time, well what should I do, man? Just do something. And then just do the next right thing. And then after that, just small things to get the momentum going. That when you get small things going, now I will say this, did you see that when you did that? That is called momentum. And then what happens is in sales, they say all the time, the best time to make a sale is right after you made the first one. And so there is a momentum involved with that. But to have this momentum, you have to have the original cause, the effect, and then the effect has the effect on the momentum. That's how that works. And that here's the other big, huge thing. You control this. And when I say that, you might not control every part of it, but take the part that you do control, inventory what you can put into this deal, and then you will find that as you get going along the way, that there will be other things added to this once you start moving. I say all the time, I feel like God blesses busy feet. And so there's a huge importance to the cause, the effect, and just slow down. Just think about this. What fruit am I bearing? What is coming out of this? If you're happy with that, great job. But if you want to sustain that, you've got to sustain that by adding more energy in on the other side. If you're not happy with the effect, you have to muster up more energy to go into this thing, and it will be fixed. You can make a change. Because they say life is about 10% of what happens to you, and 90% about how you react. 90% of your life. So this effect is going to have very little effect if you're waiting around for something external or outside of what you control or what you have around you. There are things around you, tools that you can use. I feel like that God has always put tools around us, that they've always something that you do. There's a move you can make. You might not be able to make the perfect move or the big move, but you can make small moves. You can do small things that will get that momentum going.